Drawing your guys' tattoo ideas, part 2. So recently I told everyone that once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna tattoo myself, but in the meantime, I'm drawing all your guys' tattoo ideas. And I just wanna say your guys' ideas are pretty awesome. Except for this idea. What am I looking at? Foam Buddy said, how about a 3-eyed Robo Bunny? So I did a couple sketches of robot bunnies. The first one was like a fat one, the second one was like more of an artsy one, and then the third one turned out a little bit too much uncanny, and then I kind of settled with this like more animatronic one. He kind of looks like a Five Nights at Freddy character, but I kind of dig the design. So normally when I do like line works, I like to go in multiple passes, because the first 2 passes I'm still figuring out everything, and I like my line works to be kind of on the clean side. For me, it helps a lot to do like a red or blue pen, and that way when I'm doing my final line work, which is black, it's a lot easier to have a clear distinction between the two. For my line weight, I like to have like a very like dark line, so my flow is like around like 80%. That way I don't have to really go back over my lines. And then I try to like go across 2 points in a single stroke rather than chicken scratching, and that just kind of helps everything look a little bit more confident. After I get my line work done, I'm going to work on the base silhouette and masking layer. So I filled everything with like a bright purple, and then I took the magic wand tool, selected all of the purple, and then I went to select and inverse select, and then that way I have my silhouette and it's a lot easier than manually filling it in. Alright, so now I'm just going to do my flat colors. After that, I'm going to add some hue variation and a little bit of rust to make them look a little bit more dingy. On a new layer, I'm going to paint them all white so I have a better eye to see when I work on the ambient occlusion shading. The reason why I painted him all white is so that the other colors don't distract me and I can focus solely on the values. And I'm just taking an airbrush and a lasso tool, and where all the crevices is, I'm just going to make it a little bit dark, and it's going to give him a little bit of a softer look to it. Once I finish the ambient occlusion, I'm just going to bring down the opacity of that white layer so he kind of merges in. After adding in a little bit of shadows, I'm going to do a paint over. Sometimes if I just work with the multiply layer, my shadows aren't dark enough, or the effects are just too subtle, so I like to go over on the top of that and really pound in some details, and it makes everything look a little bit more crisp. So I like to combine these two of like going back with the multiply layer, making everything soft, and then going harsh and painting over stuff and adding textures. A lot of it just feels like I'm pushing and pulling, and I haven't got it down to a science yet, but as of right now, I'm liking how it's turning out. And then if you go with like a halftone brush and really work in those like transition areas, it kind of gives it a cool effect. At this point of the painting, I'm pretty happy how he turned out. I'm gonna push in a little bit more shadow, so like his back legs, I'm just gonna really punch in the darkness, and now I'm gonna give him a shadow, and that's gonna make him feel like he really belongs in this area instead of just being plopped on a white background. Right now it's feeling a little rigid, so I'm gonna give him some clouds and particles, and I think that's really gonna finish up the painting, and I'm pretty happy how it turned out. So that's the first design we got right now. 3-eyed Robo Bunny, check. Alright, time for the next one. This next recommendation was from George Tanner 9381, and he wanted a half animal, half human creature inspired by Paleolithic era cave painting. And I was really feeling some goldfish, so I drew up 2 goldfish. One was like a dude in water, and the other one was a goldfish with human feet. And I didn't do anything extra with it. I was still brainstorming, but this is what I got for this. Alright, last but not least, this one comes from Mr. Gregor Jones 3916, and he wanted a crazy scientist kickflipping over a corpse with Corey peas growing out of it. Who the fuck is Corey Peas? Gregor, I love you, man, but what the hell, dog? So I made this quick sketch, and like the perspective was all off, so I'm gonna go into Photoshop, and I want like a 4-point perspective to give that like fisheye angle. I think that's gonna make this painting go really nice. So on the left side, I'm putting in my left vanishing point. Now I'm putting in my right vanishing point. And then in the center, I'm drawing a circular sphere, and this is going to be my rough fisheye grid. They're always going to connect at these 2 dots, and it's going to work the same way as a 3-point perspective. So in theory, all my left lines should go to the left vanishing point, all my right lines should go to the right vanishing point, and then my vertical lines are gonna follow those like sphere lines that like curve around. And in theory, I just have to stick to this grid. Here's the problem though. So when I start to draw my figure, his arms are going to be rotated, his legs are going to be rotated, all of his limbs are going to be at a different angle, which means they're all going to have a different vanishing point on that horizon line, which means my left and right vanishing points are now pretty useless, at least for this figure. Like when I do the backgrounds and everything, it'll line up perfectly because I'm not planning on rotating a lot of objects, but for this character, it becomes a lot more complicated and I'm just gonna wing it. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I need to do a lot more research on rotating objects in perspective, and I don't want to give you guys wrong information, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So I drew this like mad scientist skater. I got the board flipping. I'm pretty happy with that. So now it's time to draw the corpse, and I kind of got this vertical composition going and I'm liking how it's turning out. To really emphasize the fisheye, I'm going to draw some like cubes in the background and they're just going to wrap around that character, so he's kind of like in this like, he's like being framed by these boxes. So I've been dreading this part of the drawing. So now it's time to add my boy Corey P to the drawing. Drawing out. So I kind of just photoshopped his face and I'm gonna try to place him in, try to really make the composition look good as I can with a bunch of Corey P's. By this point of the drawing, this is where all my regret started to hit me. And I'm really dreading the idea of having to tattoo a bunch of Corey P's on my thighs. So now I'm in experimental phase and I'm going through different iterations of how to make Corey P look cool. So the first one I kind of did like sunflowers and he's like kind of shooting out at you. I didn't really like it and I didn't want his face to be that big on me, so I shrunk him down a little bit and then I brought him very back in the distance and hopefully he can hide just a little bit more. And now I'm doing like the clean drawings. I'm really emphasizing like the blackout shadows and this is like this push and pull of super dark and super light. I'm just adding a bunch of textures to this corpse and now I'm working on the Corey P's again. So I didn't really like them as like sunflowers, so I kind of gave them a more elder tubby vibe to it. They look very uncanny, and I don't mind uncanny Corey permanently on myself forever. So I made them into little walking monsters and I'm pretty happy with it. Funny thing is I ended up talking to Gregor and by Corey P's he meant the Last of Us fungus. So yeah, it was autocorrect. I didn't actually have to put Corey P on this design. So let's go through all the designs we have so far. So the first one is a PDF document. Then we got Angel Valkyrie, then we got Goldfish Man, then we got Three-Eyed Robo Bunny, lastly we got Crazy Scientist kickflipping over Corey P. I still need some more designs, guys, so if you got a cool idea or even a stupid idea, put it in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to draw it. As of right now, I'm at 680 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, we'll do a vote, and then the winning vote, I will tattoo on myself. Speaking of stupid ideas, if you guys wondered what a zombie minion would look like and then modeled in 3D, well, check out this video over here.